Hello everyone and welcome to the Round 19 Roundup stream. Finally we are done with major bye weeks. All that major bye planning can get in the bin. We are in for one more week of a smaller mini bye week and then we're just back to the one bye per week. So thank heavens for that one. Hope you're all doing okay. Hope you all can hear me okay. Hope you all can see me okay. If you want to check out the hair, I'm hoping that you can see me okay. Thank you to everyone who's already in the chat. Good to see a lot of you already. Davey K, Mark Lawless, Toby, Broads, Martin, Matthew, Brendan, Hamish, Ashton. A lot of people already in the chat, which is great to see. In terms of people's thoughts or what my thoughts are in terms of a pass score. So I've taken an average of Podmasters and that was 970 pretty much on the dot. So I ended up on 977 this week, which is looking okay. I think there'll be green arrows given that it's obviously a major bye week, but I would have liked to have cracked 1,000. But yeah, obviously if you guys were here on Thursday for the Thursday or Friday, whatever it was, for the Will Kennedy trade for Cody Walker, that obviously didn't quite work out. It would have been better for me to just go Billy Smith the Tire Monroe. It would have got myself an extra 40 points, but can't be hindsight with heroes, can't be too hindsight. So just kind of reading out some of the scores that we're seeing here. Mark with 993. I've also seen a couple of 1100s. I've seen a couple of 1080s in Podmasters. I think a few people who pretty much, I think those guys who probably just were able to push beyond a lot of the others either had more numbers or they had the likes of Sione Katoa who came good this week with 100 plus. I know people who took the chance on going down to Blake Wilson as enough option. He scored a hat-trick, so obviously they're absolutely cheering with that. So he went big this week with 100 plus. I can see in the chat a Zach Lomax owner who went big with 130. 1187 from Matthew. That is the highest score that I've seen so far. I haven't seen anything higher than that. So congrats, Matthew, with a big score there from Zach Lomax coming good for you this week. Who else went well this week? I mean, obviously Nico went 100 plus in the end with updates because I think he was missing one of his try assists that he got for Talakai. So he got that in updates. A lot of the Sharks players did well. Jesse Raymond, I think, went up to 78. Blake Brayley was good, 86. Britton Nico, I got some junk at the very end with Katoa's third try, getting 88 points, which is great. Kennedy lost, I think, one of his try assists, so 51. He was on about 66, which I was okay with. 51, I was like, not fantastic. And yeah, sacrificing Cody for him. Hopefully that doesn't hurt me too much in the long run. Other good scores from the Warriors boys. So, Toru Harris was fantastic with 94 points, as was Joe Tarpany with 94 as well. Both of them getting some attacking stats, which is very, very welcome this week. John Bateman did well for me, 70 points, back on an edge, played 80 minutes, I'm pretty sure, racked up a lot of base power stats, so hopefully that sticks and he stays on the edge because I think it was a lot better just for his output in general. More chance at probably those kind of tackle busts and whatnot, so yeah, 70 points, pretty happy with Bateman. He will do some cash, of course, but yeah, between him and Preston, I think Preston is probably the one I'll be looking to upgrade to Fafita next week. In terms of my trades, a lot of you probably saw, I talked through some of my trades. You obviously saw the Cody to Will Kennedy trade on Thursday. Originally, I did have Christian Welch out for a front row forward enough, which was Jesse Colquhoun, which was looking like a masterstroke in the beginning when he was outscoring Ronaldo Mulatalo, which was probably the massive disappointment of the week. Ended up on 19 points, but he's on like 11 pre-updates. Just ball didn't need to go to him. It was going to Talakai, and he just had a lot of handling errors. Not necessarily his fault, but from taking catches and the ball kind of just in general play. A lot of players going for the ball. Just got a couple of handling errors. So him and Alex Johnson pretty poor. Only 40 points combined between the two of them. Not what you would have wanted from your left wingers from the Rabbitohs and the Sharks, but it is what it is. Sean Johnson was great, 75 points. Didn't really get any major attacking stats, purely just kind of lots of goal kicks, a couple of forced dropouts, a couple of try contributions, and he was just kind of accumulating points in that way. So happy with the 75 points from SJ this week. Would have liked to get a bit more from him, get some big attacking stats, but you'll take 75. Preston solid with 50. Madison solid with 54. Didn't get punished too hard by Hop God this week. I think he ended up on about 64 after update, so only the 10 points difference. So at least this week Hop God I should say, didn't punish me too bad. And really that was probably it, I think, with my team. Asako, again today, 60 points. Got some nice little junk towards the end with a penalty goal. Got the field goal in regulation time for the Dolphins. And also scored a try off a kick. So ended up on 60 points. happy enough with that. But definitely I don't think he's as good as what he was at the beginning of the season. And, Valence Tavaro probably isn't helping him out there as well. Nice hair of mine, looking luscious as always. Thank you so much. Just reading out some of your other scores as well that I'm seeing. Braden 691 with 9. Yeah, unfortunately that will be red arrows. With a lot of players. I think you probably would have liked to, cracked 900 this week. So yeah, I think that's obviously going to be big red arrows. 889 from Brody off 11 players. Yeah, 867 from 12 from Andrew. A couple of stinker scores in there, like, Ronaldo, AJ, a lot of people would have been banking on, just didn't do very well. 987 with 12 is not bad from Saul Eric. 1070 from James is really, really good. Tomoko was another one who did very well. I think he got 100 plus, so, 1,002 points from Tool Pro, who had Tomoko there as well. 744 with 18 from Roger Duckling. I'm not sure if I'm believing that one. If you had 18 players and you scored 744, I'm not sure that counts. Or not that counts, sorry. I'm not sure if that's 100% true. But if you want to list out your players, then let me know. In terms of who will drop out of my team, so what I did with my trades, that was a little bit different. So Harrison Edwards was in for me because he was a number this week, and I had Christian Welch out instead for a front row forward enough. But then it was in the final game day that Harrison Edwards was out, and I didn't know what for. He was just out, and I know there was a bit of a shake-up with the Bulldogs forwards. I think Ockenbaugh dropped out, so my thinking was that if they're doing a forward shake-up, maybe there's a risk that Harrison Edwards doesn't come back into that team, and he kind of was, not really playing big minutes anyway. He's kind of starting to come off the bench, and luckily with Christian Welch being on the bye, he hadn't locked out, so I just swapped my trade instead for Harrison Edwards out for the front row forward enough instead of Christian Welch. I did some math. I think that should still leave me with enough money next week. I've got 434k in the bank. I think I'll have to just check in with Jay Schubert and his predicted price changes, but I think I should still have enough to go Preston to Fafita, and SJ getting 75 is good. He shouldn't lose that much cash, and I think that hopefully should be enough to go from him to Cleary if I want to do that next week. But obviously still Origin to go, so lots of things will change. Maybe if Fafita gets a rest, and that kind of reduces the need to get him next week. Loving the stream in mind. Thank you, Caden. We only just started, so hopefully it's still good through the whole way through. 990 at 800th, probably red arrows. 990 is not a bad score, Blake. Probably slight red arrows. You might drop just outside of the top 1,000, but it doesn't sound that too bad. What do you think was the average score? Guys, if you're looking at past scores, please do just refer to the pin message because I've got it up there. And I base that past score on... so I look at the Podmasters League, which is, I think, ranked 7th or 6th now. And I take an average of everyone's scores there, and I kind of then drop it by like 10, 20 points because I figured, obviously everyone there is buy planning very well. So just to kind of take it back a little bit. So I reckon around 950 is about a pass score this week. Monroe was very, very good as well. 90 points in the end. Got like 3 line breaks, got a double. He got some attacking stats, and very, very concerning as an AJ owner. Like without Cody, the ball just didn't go to the left-hand side. Hopefully when Cody's back, that means more ball to the left, because really you could tell that it was just going to the right-hand side. Good for any Tyrone Monroe buyers out there. He was very heavily traded in, so I didn't trade him in this week because I instead did my whole Cody shenanigans. In hindsight, probably not the best, but look, it is what it is. It is what it is. So we'll quickly go through games and stuff, but I figure we don't probably need to go for like a full hour today either. There's only a few games to tackle, but we'll try to spend more time maybe just generally answering some of your questions. So seeing some questions about Monroe, so we may as well just kind of start there. Why not? So Mark's question is, would you bring in Monroe after the South's bye? So I was thinking about this as well, because he won't change the price next week because they have the bye. But then round 22, you'll get, not round 22, round 21, you'll get Latrell back. Hopefully you'll get Campbell Graham back for the Rabbitohs. So hopefully we get a good idea of what the kind of the first choice back 5 is for the Rabbitohs. We know 4 of them already. It's just really that right wing spot. So Jay Schubert posted yesterday, Monroe would have an estimated break-even of minus 92. So to be honest, I think in round 21, given that he doesn't change in price, look, he's bottom dollar, and if he keeps a spot, I don't mind going down to him. If you still need to create funds, round 21, you still might need to go the likes of maybe if you're going for a Tino, in front of forward, for example, or if you're going for another big upgrade elsewhere, you still probably need to look at your downgrades, and Monroe's probably still looking the best one. And if you've got that big of a break even, at least he's guaranteed to make cash. Like if you've got trades to play with and you can go trade him in, maybe trade him out, that's potentially a good play. And the Rabbitohs do have some good matchups where you can look to play him on matchups. They've got the Tigers. I'm pretty sure they've got the Dragons and Bulldogs still to go. Instead of guessing, how about I check it? Instead of just talking absolute nonsense. Yeah, so they've got Tigers, Dragons, Newcastle. Sorry, those are the 3 games that I thought maybe you can target. So there's 3 matchups there where you can easily just plug in Monroe. And he's been very good as well. So as Hamish says, he won't get dropped. He's been way too good. He was very good as well. So I think it would have been probably fair to say that he was the first choice coming into this week already, but he had a good performance, so it seems as though he will be a likely candidate. Again, if you want to go down to Monroe, if that's your way to go up to like a Scott Drinkwater, for example, like those are the kind of things that I'm saying, yeah, look, you still might need to downgrade, and I think Monroe probably will continue to be the best one. Just on the Rabbitohs, is Alex Johnston a trade? It's tough, right? So just on Johnston, so he only scored the 21 points. Jay Schubert from Twitter, he's estimated that AJ will have a break even the week after of 86, and he'll lose 45k. So currently, what is AJ? He is, why am I on the Titans game? Sorry. 564k. He's going to be quite cheap. He's going to be 520k. I mean, you are losing some, like you're not really selling him at a great value at 520. I mean, I guess I've seen people mention about maybe going AJ to Monroe. You pocket like 300k. Maybe you go for the, you take that 300k and, you can use that money elsewhere. Like, to be honest, I know it feels somewhat it's not really sideways though, to be honest. Like you're getting, you're swapping one winger from the Rabbitohs for another, but you're pocketing 300k in the process. So like, to be honest, those kind of things, like I don't mind. With AJ, I might still hold him just because of those good matchups and just his value being low. He might just be someone that I want to hold on to. But to be honest, I can see AJ being one of the more popular traded out players coming into next week. If people are looking at going to like a Drinkwater via duels, maybe AJ is a guy who goes, so I'm definitely not locked into holding AJ for the rest of the year, but there are some good matchups there. And I do think that when Cody and Latrell come back, I think that will be good for AJ. I think just without Cody, they just went all down the right-hand side during that game against the Bulldogs. So I wouldn't read too much into the performance from AJ. But obviously, disappointing that he couldn't get us any more than that than in the bye week. We already spoke about Monroe. I think, to be honest, I still think he'll be a good purchase. It's hard to kind of read into the Rabbitohs so much because the guys that we probably want, none of them really played. Like no Cody, Kolomatangi, Latrell, Campbell Graham. So, I mean, just some good performances from some of their kind of depth players. But yeah, in the end, obviously, Bulldogs took the game. Really needed that Reed Miney masterclass today. Yesterday. 83 points. Thank you, Reed, for your services. I still might hold him. I'm not saying that in the sense that I'll sell him. But happy with the 83 points. I needed that badly. Reed has been killing me for most of the season since I bought him in like round 2 or round 3. So I'm happy that he got those 83 points. So he's at a really cheap value as well, Reed. So I'll probably just stick with him, I think, for the time being. Maybe he's someone who I do look to upgrade to Harry Grant instead of Damien Cook. But to be honest, I don't see myself unless Fafita doesn't play next week and is rested. I'm probably not getting Harry Grant next week. I'll probably get him the week after. I'll probably play Reed Marty next week. Bulldogs do have a game. I can't remember who it is, so let me double check. It is it's the Broncos. Well, that's not good. Broncos in round 20. That'll be a tough matchup. But look, we'll play Reed for that week. So yeah. Anyway, so I'll play Reed next week. Probably. I'll probably hold Damien Cook for another week, and I think round 21 I might look to sell one of them two for Harry Grant. But if Fafita's not playing next week, and then I might go Harry Grant next week instead. I think Fafita, Cleary, Harry Grant are probably the 3 that I'm looking at the most for Origin players. Val Holmes would be great, but he's really expensive. It's like 850k. I do feel like I might need to try to get to a Cowboys player like a Drinkwater or a Val Holmes. So they need to come into my thinking as well. But yeah, so few things to think about, but I'm seeing this question here from Megan, best buy for next week. I think next week is going to be a big moving week in terms of the origin guns that you can bring back in. So a lot of people like myself, we sold Dave Fafita, hoping that he would drop in price. It just has, and provided that he gets through Origin 3 unscathed, and the Titans play on the Sunday in round 20. If he backs up, I think I'll want to get Fafita, and I don't think Fafita is going to have a very expensive break. He's got to have not very low, but a relatively achievable break even. So, so NRL SuperCoach Stats has his break even at 41. So you can see Fafita easily clearing 41 in round 20. He's got Parramatta as well. Parramatta are not necessarily the strongest defensively. They can leak points. So yeah, you definitely want, I think, Fafita. So Fafita, to me, if he plays, is probably the best buy of next week. Cleary is probably up there. To be honest, actually, you know what? I would probably say Cleary is a better buy than Fafita next week, purely because it's a Dolphins matchup, followed by the Bulldogs. I know there's slight risk with Cleary in that he's coming back off a hamstring, which does have a higher re-injury risk. But if Cleary's back next week, I don't want to not own him when he's versing the Dolphins, to be perfectly honest. So Cleary's probably just above Fafita, I think, rank-wise. I'm hoping to try and get both of them, though. Hopefully get both of them. Just on the Bulldogs game, I thought Toby Sexton was really good. Didn't quite... he got 70 points. He was really good for the Bulldogs, though. So maybe they turn things around now with Sexton in there. He was quite good. You have to cut the hood off that new bloke hoodie. Can't mess that hair up from Graham. There's no way I could do that. The hoodie's I bought the hoodie for the hood. How can I cut the hood off then? No, not a chance. I'm not wearing it today though, but I'll probably wear it. On the Tuesday one. I hate that we have to final buys. This means SC is almost finished and no more Oman streams from Sticky Nicky. Oh, I appreciate that a lot, but that's okay. We all need a break sometimes from SuperCoach, and then we'll come back into it for the beginning of next season. But look, still got 7 or 8 weeks to go. Plenty of time left. AJ will be fine with Cody, just not a play without him. Yeah, that's a good point from Insight Fantasy Sports, and shout out to you guys. Great to see you in the chat. I think without Cody, that left side is just not going to get all the quality ball. Hold AJ once Trell and Cody are back, he'll be back to his best. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that unless I need to create money, I probably, with AJ going down to 520k, I'll probably just hold him, I think, at this point. Fine hair as always. Thank you so much, Megan. Really appreciate that. Hey man, is Campbell Graham a sell or a hold? Yeah, that's an interesting one, Ron. I think if you didn't sell him this week, given that you knew that he was missing this week and the buy in round 21, I think there's an argument that you could just hold him again through next week if you can cover it. And then, look, there are some good matchups on the other side of that. You got Tigers, Dragons, and Knights matchups on the other side. And Campbell Graham's the kind of player who he's got really good base stats. So even in those tougher games, you can see him, still scoring well. He's got a base of 35. He can easily get you, his low score this season is a 34. That's not the worst thing in the world. But he's got 40. That 34 was against Penrith. So they 100% are the best defense. But he's gotten he's gotten 132 against the Broncos. He can get it done against good opposition. So I don't mind if you've got Campbell Graham, just to hold him through, to be honest, because you can keep him. That round 22 matchup against the Tigers could be a good one to have Graham for. So I think if you've held him through this point, I think he's probably a nice hold. I think most people would have sold, so he could be a nice little pod for you as well. Secret27 says, hey man, nice hair. Do you think this week you could show your ideal team if you have infinite trades and cash so we can get the idea of the best players in each position? So I think it's probably a good time of the season now to be looking at who are the kind of the key guys that you want for the run home in every position. So I'm happy to chuck in a segment of, if you had no budget, who would be the kind of the best 25 squad that we can assemble. Yeah, that's probably something I could very easily do, to be honest. If you give me a couple of minutes, I can probably... Let's rattle off a couple of positions and we'll do it bit by bit during the stream. So just keep reminding me during the stream if I forget secret. But, hooker would probably be Harry Grant and either Damien Cook or Blake Brayley, probably the two and three. Jerry Marshall King would have been there, but he's injured again this week. And he looks to be just kind of no good, I think, for the time being. Front of forward, it seems quite easy. It'd be Tino, Payne Haas, Fanua Blake, and probably Joe Tarpany, maybe Tor Harrison fifth. If I look at the fullbacks, I'm not going to answer. The fullbacks is really difficult, but I'd probably say, I will answer it. I'll probably say Latrell and Drinkwater. If I had the two, I'd probably want them too. Halves would be Nico and Cleary, so that's pretty easy. Second row forward for Fafita, Britton Nickera. after Hopgood probably would be there. And then if you want maybe number 4, number 4 is you can probably take a bit of a flyer. Someone like a Bateman is fine. Maybe like you could easily have someone like a Toru Harris in your second row forward as well. Kolomatangi, maybe probably not Kolomatangi because they've got buys. They still have a couple of buys coming up, the Rabbitohs. Who else we got? Who's been doing good in the second row forward that I'm missing? I'll come back to that one. 5'8" probably would be, to be honest, because I said Latrell and Drinkwater. If I'm being honest, like I'm still very keen on Ponga. I think Ponga could definitely be a top 2 or 3, 5'8". So I think the question then becomes, Cody or Munster. I'd probably rather have Munster for the run home than Cody, just purely for the Storm don't have any more buys after this week. So Munster should be playing every game, which is big. He plays 2 extra games over Cody. I'd probably say Munster and Ponga as my 5'8", but Cody like a really, really close third. Centre wing, Val for sure. Asaka maybe. I mean, he's not playing as well with Tavare on his inside. He just seems to hog the ball from him a little bit, or just doesn't quite. He's not as good as Branko in terms of putting him through on the outside. But Asako I think would be there. I really like Nickel Klukstad as a run home centre wing. The draw for the run home in the last 5 weeks of the Warriors is amazing. So I think Nickel Klukstad would be there. I'd probably say Ronaldo still, just because the Sharks do have those good matchups. I know it's weird to say after he scored like 19 points, but I'd probably say Ronaldo's in those 4. Centre wing is a bit better that you can take more pods and whatnot. But who else we got there? Who's got a good draw for the run home? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But yeah, okay. Anyway, there's 4 centre wing. If I think of anyone else, I'll let you know. But that's kind of already in my head, kind of thinking about who would be the guys I'd be looking to target. Estimate of SJ's price drop. Okay, well, we may as well use this question to segue into the Warriors. I already spoke a little bit about Nickel Klukstad. Warriors were really, really good. I did tip them, which was good. Did pretty decent on the tipping this week. Didn't get a perfect round though, because I did tip the Rabbitohs, which was, in hindsight, probably a bit silly. But I got everything else, which is good. SJ, so he scored 73 yesterday, and he's predicted to drop about 40k next week. So 40k, not great, because he did have like 128 break-even coming into this week, and he's predicted to have a break-even next week of 149. So SJ he will lose some, well, not probably, he will lose cash. So he'll be around the 750, he'll be about the 760k mark. So it'll pretty much cost you about exactly 100k to go from him to Cleary next week. Cleary's about 857k. Warriors don't have the best matchup next week. I believe they've got the Sharks, which look, Sean Johnson could do well. It's his old club and whatnot. But Sharks probably not the easiest game. And then you got Raiders before the bye in round 22. Now the only thing with selling SJ that's problematic is that the run home from 23 is great. Titans, Dragons. Sorry, I'm all over the shop. Titans, Tigers, Manly, Dragons, Dolphins. Like, that's a fantastic run home. But I just think Cleary's probably still the guy that I'd prefer. And especially the next couple of weeks, I want Cleary when he has the Dolphins and the Bulldogs. Run home for Cleary's not as good, because you've got Sharks, Melbourne, Manly, Titans, Parramatta, Cowboys. Like, it's definitely a tougher run than SJ. So maybe there is an argument that you could anti-pod Cleary, but part of me feels like he's probably still the guy that I'd want to be targeting from for the halfback spot. Him and Nico's are pretty much a non-negotiable, I think. Nanai is a good second or forward. That's a good point. Yeah, I think if you want to be a piece of the Cowboys, Nanai could be an option for you actually. Outside of that, I mean, the Eels obviously completely decimated without some of their origin players. So, no Gutho, no Regan Campbell-Gillard, no Moses. So, Warriors are pretty much full strength. So I think they were definitely the favourite for this week and deserved winners. Shout out to someone on Twitter who said, never listen to content creators again, because I think I said a few weeks ago that I don't like Metcalf because Tamari Martin was coming back in a few weeks. Look, fair enough. Metcalf has been really good. He was really good on the weekend as well. But how was I supposed to know Tamari Martin's going to be out until round 20 when the original prognosis was round 17? I thought the shelf life of Metcalf was like 3 weeks. So I'm like, well, I wouldn't trade him in. He's only got 3 weeks and he's taking up a 5'8" spot. Anyway, I won't lay sword to hindsight heroes out there, but come on, there's a bit of hindsight there. But yeah, Metcalf was very good this week, 112 points, and he did bomb a try as well. That would have been an SJ try assist off a kick, which was a little bit annoying. But anyway, 75 points from SJ, still pretty good. If you're head-to-head, would you rather SJ? That's a good point, actually. If you're a head-to-head player, you'd probably take SJ, I think, with that draw. Like, assuming your head-to-head finals are, say, round 23 to 26. So in that time, Cleary will have Melbourne, Manly, Titans, and Parramatta. We know Parramatta can do well against Penrith. Melbourne is obviously tough. So, a couple of tough matchups in there. At the same time, SJ has Titans, West Tigers, Manly, and Dragons. Yeah, you'd rather for sure the matchups for SJ. So I think if you're a head-to-head player, maybe the argument is to hold SJ. I think for overall, it's not really that different. Like, Panthers don't have a bye for the rest of the season. That's one good thing with them. So that if you're buying Cleary next week, maybe round 27 he misses, but yeah, no more buys, so that's good. So at least you know that you're not going to get affected by that. The Warriors still do have a buy in round 22. But yeah, I think the Warriors are still definitely a team to invest in. I think now at this point you can probably maybe wait a couple of weeks, and then maybe round 23 onwards, they look like a team that I really want to be targeting as well. Nickel Cookside is definitely up there as someone I would like to get. He did pretty well, 61 points. It was 1 try assist and 1 try contribution in there, so solid enough. Mitch Barnett, I think I saw a couple of people. Also, yeah, sincere apologies. Someone had asked me, I think earlier this week, about Mitchell Barnett as a pod. I don't actually think I got time to actually get back to answering them. But to be honest, I probably would have said, yeah, he's good price, 470k. I'd probably say nah. I probably wouldn't have gone him, to be honest. So hopefully that person went and bought him. If you're in the chat, let me know if you went and bought Barnett, because he went huge, scored a double, 126 points. So you would absolutely take that in a bye week. Who else did well? Montoya was good. Jackson Ford has actually been pretty solid. So I think if anyone still held on to him, he's actually done quite well, because he did well against the Dragons, 74, 54 against the Rabbitohs, and now 77 this week. So he did have some attacking stats in there. To be honest, unless you're upgrading him to Fafita or Brenton Nickera, you can probably just afford to keep him now. Like, he's 484k. He'll go up a little bit in value, but that run home we talked about, like, he could just be a good play for matchups at this point. So I don't mind holding on to Ford if you still hold him. On the eel side of things, Hopgood solid as ever, 64 points. Simonson has actually been really good recently, so scored 70 points, scored a solo try. He's had a couple of decent scores the last few weeks, the last 3 weeks before this, 83, 92, 82. So he's actually been a good pod. He's over 650k now, or 636k, and he'll go up above 650k as well. Probably doesn't feel like the time to invest. Round 20 is a good matchup against the Titans. Eels plays, it's a bit difficult to. I think with forwards it's okay. If you want to buy Hopgood, I still think he's a good buy. But in terms of the backline players like Moses, Gutherson, I think if you haven't got them already, I probably would not be looking at them, because their run does toughen up. They've got Titans in round 20, which is fine. Cowboys and then Melbourne. Dragons matchup in round 23 is good, but there's Broncos, Roosters, Penrith, and then a bye. I think the run home for the Parramatta Eels isn't the best. So I think with the Eels players, if you haven't got already, I would probably limit how many I invest in as well. Aside from that, Madison was solid, 54 points. I'll take that this week. But yeah, probably not too much more, I think, out of this game. Pretty comprehensive win from the Warriors. Have I made an FPL draft yet, Hamish? I have. I can show you a little bit later on the stream. But yes, I have made a team. To be honest, with FPL, I'm just... I've made my team and I'm not really paying that much attention to it. I'm kind of still happy to just let there's still a few weeks to go, so I'm not really wondering about tinkering. I don't want to be tinkering around too much with my draft. Let's take some questions. What will we do? Says Kennedy, thoughts, mate? Well, if you want my thoughts on Kennedy, check out the Thursday stream. So, look, I bought Kennedy because I thought, look, it's the Tigers matchup, and I wanted to try to take advantage of this week, try to push the envelope a bit, maybe be a bit more aggressive, because I'm ranked 5,800, and I was like, is there any point just conserving trades? Just go for it, see what happens. The colloquial, throw something at the fan and see if it sticks, that kind of thing. Oh, throw at the wall, sorry, not the fan. But yeah, so 51 from Kennedy. He was good at the beginning in the first half. Got one of the try assists. His second try assist got taken away because, to be honest, I didn't think he should have got that try assist. It was for one of Katoa's tries. It was where Raymond, I think, got the try assist in the end. So he ended up on 78. So he was good. So Kennedy originally got that try assist, but I didn't think that was one that he should have kept. So I can't I'm upset about the lost points, but I can't be too mad about it, to be honest. But yeah, 51 points from Kennedy is solid. Would I buy him again? I'm not sure. Probably not, to be honest. If you told me Kennedy was getting 51 against the Tigers, I would have said I'm not bothering buying him. I mean, the draws, there's a few good matchups in the run home. Warriors is tough next week. Manly's okay. Round 22 is Penrith. Then it's the Rabbitohs, Titans, Cowboys, Newcastle, Canberra. There's a few good matchups in there. But yeah, I'm thinking now maybe Kennedy wasn't the right play. He had a 61 break even as well, so he's actually going to keep going. He's going to go down a bit more in price, which is not great. So again, this is one of the things I'm thinking is with Kennedy, part of the reason when I bought him in was round 22, was to maybe flip him to Latrell, who has the Tigers that week. So I think if I need to do that, I'll be needing probably 300k. So round 21, what I might do is potentially trade out one of my center wings for Monroe, probably make some cash, and then I might use that, and then the next week to try go Kennedy up to Latrell. So I think the next few weeks I won't be really saving trades. Next week I'll probably be using 2. Round 21 probably using another 2. At the moment I'm on 10 trades. I think someone was asking me a bit earlier. So I'll probably be on 6 trades. And then I probably will be on, if I want to get to Latrell, it might, let's say by round 22 or 23 I might have 4 trades left, which is about a trade a week for the rest of the season, which hopefully is okay. Probably leave myself a little bit short, but hopefully luck goes our way and we don't get hit too hard with injuries and whatnot. But yeah, I may as well keep trading hard to try to push myself up, because there's no point otherwise just kind of sitting there around this 5k rank and not really moving. But yeah, on the Tigers, to be honest, they were pretty good against the Sharks in the first half. So yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about how the Sharks were going. To be honest, they're still not looking 100% either, the Sharks. But I thought this matchup, hopefully they'll put on the points. Didn't quite happen. Well, 36 points, but didn't happen with my guy, Will Kennedy. Mentioned Bateman already, very happy with him. Sean Bloor has actually been very good. If anyone went him as a downgrade instead of Piakura a couple of weeks ago, he's probably looking much better than Piakura. And so yeah, happy with Bateman. I think Bateman is probably who I'll be keeping. If he stays on the edge as well, I'll probably want to keep him. So Toby's asking, should I sell Bateman or Meaney to Fafita? I mean, Meaney he's kind of gone off the boil a little bit in the last few weeks. I'm looking at his last few scores, 37, 41, 58, 63. There was an 86 before that, but he was kind of doing well beginning of the season. He's 560k. Run home for the Storm. Let's see, Roosters, Newcastle, Parramatta, Penrith, Raiders, Dragons, Titans, Broncos. The last 4 rounds are probably better than the next few. I guess the question is, what do you value more? Bateman, if he stays on the edge, he'll probably be safe 55 to 65, 70 most weeks, which is good. Meaney's probably more likely to get you that kind of 35, 40, but also more likely to get you that kind of 90, 100 plus. So I think it kind of depends. Do you want to just go with the higher upside guy, or maybe just take the more consistent guy? To be honest, if it was my team, I'd probably rather hold on to Bateman. Bateman's still got a few good matchups for the run home. He has Newcastle around 20. He's got Dragons around 21. That's pretty good as well. There's a Dolphins matchup in the run home. I think the run home is a little bit easier. So maybe the attacking stats could come for Bateman. So I think out of those two, I'd probably rather sell Meaney over Bateman. Meaney, we know he has that potential, but he's kind of gone off the boil a little bit in the last few weeks. Outside of that, not really much else, I think, from the West Tigers. I guess the other question was Dream Buller. Only scored 40 points this week, so he is going to be, very, very cheap. Just a quick look at Jay Schubert's predicted price changes. Yeah, so he has Dream Buller. So this is when Buller was on 33. So he's gone up a little bit in score, so, it won't be as bad, but yeah. He had predicted him for 128 break even and 95k in price loss. So call it 90k now. He's gone up to 40, and he's going to have another high break even. Yeah, I'm not sure what you do now if you're a Buller owner, because if he's losing 90k, he's going down to 555k. The value's starting to fall quite a lot. It does have a couple of good matchups, Newcastle and Dragons. Maybe you just hold for. I think if you held Buller now through this week, then probably I think I'd still hold. But yes, he is losing his value quite a bit. Although, to be honest, I think if you can go Buller to someone like a Ponga and your fullback, I quite like that, to be honest. I think if you can go, I'll say it again. I like Ponga for the run home. He's got good matchups on the run home, which I really like. And if he's goal kicking as well, like that's very, very handy. And he's got a 19 break even. So Ponga is going to get quite expensive. He's already 760k as well. Meany's too cheap to sell. Melbourne fullback should get some scores eventually. I mean, that's also a good point from Adam, is that, if you want to sell Meany, you're selling him at a lower value than, say, Bateman. So, take that into consideration as well. But if I had to guess who to outscore for the run home, strangely enough, if Bateman stays on the edge, I'd probably say Bateman. It would probably be safe about 60, 65 most weeks. Not really much else. I think we've talked a lot about Shark players for the last few weeks. So, because they obviously had a good draw and played round 19 and play every game for the rest of the season. I'm seeing a question here from Tool Pro, which is Blake Brayley as a hooker pod. Kind of mentioned it already when from Secret's question earlier about who will be your run home options. Brayley's probably up there as a third or fourth hooker behind Harry Grant, maybe like a Damien Cook. The fact that he doesn't have any more buys for the rest of the season is good. He's definitely looked a lot better as well on the eye test the last couple of weeks. Like, he's running the ball a little bit more. That's how he got his try assist for Nico this week. So he ended up going very well with 86 points. He's good. He's kind of got that safety net of he's good for like a 45 to 55 most weeks. And then, if he gets a try assist, line break assist, he had a line break and a try assist. So he had a 22 point play there. So you were looking at 64 without that try assist, which is still pretty solid. You'll take 64 points. So I think Brayley's a good pod option for a hooker. If you've got like a Damien Cook, for example, and you're really short for numbers next week, say you've got Damien Cook, Sonny Luke, then I don't mind going Cook to Brayley next week. At least because with Cook, he's got another buy in round 26. If you buy Brayley, you'll make some money out off that trade. And that with you won't have to worry about Brayley, who'll play for the rest of the season as well with no more buys. So I think Brayley's a good option. Sione Katoa was good pod for anyone who went and took the chance on him. Talakar was very good. Talakar was one of the other guys I was considering, but I ended up going Kennedy. So look, it's 50 points. Not fantastic, but that's fine. It is what it is, as I'll say. And Jesse Raymond was good as well, scoring a try and a try assist as well for Sione Katoa. Wilton solid. Ronaldo, I guess. Most people I think still would have had Ronaldo, so it's a bit of a shame he only scored 19 points, but I don't think you'd be selling Ronaldo. Alrighty, so we probably just haven't talked about the Dragons Raiders game in much detail. I know the Dragons were better, but Raiders still got the job done. I think someone asked a bit earlier in the stream thoughts on the Raiders try celebration. I thought that was elite. I thought that was fantastic, and the fact that they had Elliot Whitehead as the batsman was amazing. So I saw Piers Morgan on Twitter having a cry over that celebration. Jog on, mate. That was a great celebration in my opinion. I really liked it. It was good. It was good banter. And good score from Timoko, 122. Joe Taps, what a man. 94 points. This is what it feels like having Taps and his big scores, because last year I did not own him for any of his big scores. So it was very frustrating as a non-Tarpany owner. So I'm very happy he got a try this week and got him as an owner. So happy enough with that. A couple of good scores as well from Sebastian Chris, Zach Wolford. Unfortunately, my pod recommendation of Albert Hopewati did not come to fruition. Only 24 points, so apologies to anyone who took my advice. Sorry. Again, don't always listen to content creators. Someone also asked me about Seb Chris, and I said no. He's ended up scoring 70 plus. So if you like my advice, that's good. But at the end of the day, please do make your own decisions so that I don't feel as guilty about giving crap recommendations. But Hudson Young, only 45 points, just didn't get really any attacking stats today on Friday. I think someone had asked earlier about Jack de Belin. Would I sell Bateman or Jack de Belin for feeder? I'd rather have Bateman, I think, than Jack de Belin. De Belin's just kind of playing in the middle. He's not really running the ball a lot, just making a lot of tackles. So I think his attacking upside is kind of kind of capped. Like, I'm not sure he's going to really get you those big scores. Like, he's going to be probably someone who gets you like 59 kind of thing most weeks. Whereas Bateman, if he continues playing on the edge, I think is good for like 65 plus that potential for attacking stats as well. So I think with look, DeBellin's not at a good price to sell either. He's 545k, but I still think I prefer Bateman over him for the run home. Outside of that, obviously Ravalawa scored a hat-trick, so 145 points. He does this about once or twice a year. I'd probably say he's probably still not someone I'd look to buy just because the Dragons are still quite poor. To be fair, he's got 2 other 90-plus point scores this season. So 145 with the Tigers matchup around 20. I can see him being one of the more traded in players next week because it's 145 points and they'll see a Tigers matchup, but I don't know if I can recommend Dragons players. I mean, Lomax maybe, because Lomax in the past has been a Supercoach option. He's goal kicking, although to be honest, he's not really goal kicking that well. Like before this week, he was 42, 52, 60, 66, 46, 43. Like there's a couple of 70s in there, but yeah, overall the scores are just not fantastic. But it is a Tigers matchup, I guess, in round 20. So maybe Lomax is an option, but he's probably not someone that I would be going for. I think I'd be trying to prioritize going with like, Val Holmes, Nico Klukstad, those kind of guys. To be honest, I mean, any Jacob Little buyers out there, you've done quite well. 60 for the last few weeks, he's done pretty good, 61 points. So you'll absolutely take that. Let's see if there's any more things in the chat. Hey, Mod, pick 2 of these as priority picks, assuming they all get named for round 20. Munster, Cleary, and Tino. Would have to be Cleary. I think Cleary out of those 3 would be number 1. Number 2 out of Munster and Tino. I mean, it's very dependent on, what does your team need more? Do you need the front row forward or do you need the 5'8"? Like, they're completely different positions. So I think you kind of need to just have a look at that too. Tino's 835k, so he's very expensive. But he is probably a run home front row forward. I'd probably take Munster, to be honest. I mean, Munster is coming in like 200k cheaper. 655k, break even of 51. I'd probably rather take Munster in my opinion. So probably Munster and Cleary for me. Would you say that Cleary is a must for next round if you already have Moses, or wait a week? Break even 122 for Cleary. Yeah, tough one because Moses has got the Titans next week. That's probably a match you'll want Moses for. So I think if you have Moses, definitely I think I would hold. Well, not definitely, but I'd probably rather have Moses. Well, actually, sorry. Let me start again. I think I'd rather have Cleary for the run home than Moses. But I think next week alone, Moses versus the Titans is perfectly fine. And I expect he'll back up. I think the Parramatta need to keep winning games. Titans matchup is good. Low break even, as you say, so that gap between him and Cleary could actually get a little bit closer if Cleary doesn't quite go big. He's got 122 break even compared to Moses, who's got a lower one, as you say. So they're only like 20k difference in price between them anyway at this point. So money's probably not really going to be an issue. I think it really comes down to points. And I think if you've got Moses, I think you can hold him for next week for sure. You don't have to get Cleary in. I'm just seeing with SJ, his price continuing to go down. Relatively tough matchup against the Sharks. I'm thinking maybe it's a good option to move on to Cleary. All right, final game, which was the Titans-Dolphins. So Dolphins got this job done in the end after going into Golden Point. A couple of good scores from the Dolphins side of things. Connolly Lemuelu scored a try, so he ended up on 66 points. Asako somehow ending up on 60. I'll take that. I think there was a question about Asako earlier. Let me try to find that. Oh yeah, from Hamish. So Schubert just posted price changes and break-even predictors for the Dolphins. Isako will drop 45k with 109 break-even next week. Okay, so he'll go down to about 680k. Is potting with Tungo over Isako next week a good move? Yeah, totally. I think if you're looking to buy Senui next week, it wouldn't be Isako in my opinion, because he's got Penrith, and then he has a bye in round 21. So the next couple of weeks, you'll definitely take Tungo, who's got Dolphins and Bulldogs in that period of time. So yeah, for sure, I think I'd be potting elsewhere. But I think Asako will still be a good option for the run home. He's got Bulldogs, Knights, Tigers, and Bulldogs, Knights, and Tigers in the run home is pretty good. Warriors is not the best, but it's at home at least. So look, and he's shown this season that even in tough matchups, he's got a pretty good floor on him. 44 was his low score against the Broncos. Same as 44 against the Rabbitohs. He's got a 97 against Melbourne and stuff. So he's still solid. But yeah, I think for sure for now, I wouldn't be buying Osako. I've kind of mentioned it that, this week was not a bad week to get him because of the matchup. But now if you haven't got him, I think you definitely wait. I think until after that buy, because the matchups don't justify getting him in at this moment in time. In terms of the Titans, so Brian Kelly was good. I know a couple of people asked me about Brian Kelly last week. I wasn't too keen on it. Obviously this week was good, 93 points. Just with the Titans, their run home is quite difficult. I don't think that matters with the likes of Tino and Fafita, given that they're forwards. I think they'll be just fine. But it's more that with the backline players, I think their run home is going to be a bit more difficult for just kind of getting those big scores you probably want out of your center wings in the run home. So for example, Parramatta, Roosters, Cowboys, Warriors, Sharks, Penrith, and Melbourne before the Bulldogs in round 27. That's a pretty tough draw. I wouldn't want to be having too many Titans players. I guess the flip side and the one good thing with the Titans is that they can score points. It doesn't matter who they're versus, they can typically score points. So that's one good thing about them. So maybe it's still not the worst option to keep them, but if I'm buying new, I probably don't like that. Probably don't love those matchups there. Adam saying Hines has a tough draw to finish up. Can we hold Moses but trade Hines for Cleary? No, to be honest, I think Moses has a tougher run home and has the bye in round 27. Hines has no more buys for the rest of the season. I think Hines has shown that he is probably the best SuperCoach halfback, and I wouldn't want to be going without Hines for the run home, definitely not. Even in those tough matchups, we know that he just needs really one try assist and he can end up on 70 points. He's solid. I probably wouldn't be trading on Hines. I think Hines is for sure one of the top 2 halfbacks to have. Cool. I think there's not really much else. Valence Tavare was okay with 40 points, but he doesn't seem to really help Osako. That's probably another reason why I maybe wouldn't jump to Osako straight away. All right. I think that's probably kind of wrapped up the games. If you want to hear my initial trade plans for next week, so it will probably be Preston to Fafita, pending Fafita playing, and SJ to Cleary. So SJ to Cleary after that predicted price change will cost me about 100k. So I need 333k to go from Preston to Fafita, which I think I should just have enough money. I'm just going to quickly look at Jay Schubert's predicted price changes. So he's got Preston for a 37k price drop. So Preston would go down to what's that? 555k. And Fafita is 828. Okay. So I should have enough money to go both Preston and SJ to Cleary and Fafita next week if I need to. I think that's probably what I'll be doing next week if Fafita plays. But yeah, okay. We'll probably wrap things up soon. We'll go for a couple of minutes to see if there's any more questions. But yeah, do give the stream a like if you have enjoyed it, guys. Obviously not as much to get into given it's a bye week. But yeah, lots to get into next week. But we'll obviously need to see what happens with Origin, any injuries and stuff like that. And player restings for sure will be a bit of an issue next week. Aman, just book tickets to Istanbul. What are your best recommendations? Oh, well, that's fantastic. Loved Istanbul. It was a great place. What are my recommendations? Try as much food as you can. I love that kind of food, kebabs and P-days and kind of that. It's so good. So I think try as much food as you can for sure. They've got Adana kebabs are good. P-days are good. They've got a really good type of breakfast. I wouldn't call it a pizza, but I forgot what it is. Turkish. It starts with an L. Breakfast pizza. Lahmacun, that's what it is. Let me type that in for you. There you go. Yeah, that's really nice if you can find that at some good breakfast places. Definitely try a traditional Turkish breakfast as well. It's quite nice. In terms of recommendations, there's plenty of mosques that you can see. The Basilica Cistern is good. The palaces, there's heaps of palaces in Istanbul as well. But generally, it's just a cool place just to walk around as well. It's Very bustling city. Would I consider holding SJ? I would, but I feel like I want Cleary. Dolphins matchup. I mean, maybe I'm just too tunnel vision about this whole Cleary thing, but I'm just thinking that probably goes back to what that earlier person said, that if you're a head-to-head player, probably prefer SJ for the run home. Like, SJ's done nothing wrong, really. It was really just that 20-point game he had last week against the Rabbitohs, but that was in really bad conditions. He's probably good for a 75 average for the run home, especially with those really good games coming up down the future. So, yeah, maybe I need to think about that a little bit more, about holding SJ, because, yeah, he's been very, very good. Hamish has got 823k in the bank, looking to go Taruva and Croker to Drinky and Tungo. Yeah, look, I think those are solid trades. I mean, Taruva out. He's also got the Dolphins Bulldogs, so maybe not a must sell, but yeah, I mean, Croker to Drinkwater sounds awesome. Maybe you don't need to go Taruva to Tungo, but I think Tungo is probably a better option than Taruva. Walker to Ponga. That will probably be a very popular question next week. Would I sell Cody Walker to Ponga? To be honest, look, I sold Cody this week, so I'm probably comfortable selling. Well, I am comfortable selling Cody, and yeah, to be honest, I think I'd rather have Ponga for the rest of the season, because he's Ponga has been killing it. Like, obviously that last week's score inflated his average massively, but he's now on a 73 average for the entire season, and that's including this 1 point game. I think if you take that out, he's probably closer to like an 80 average. And a lot of those games as well, like that's including a 16-point game. I think ever since he actually went back to fullback, which was, when did Kalen Ponga go back to fullback? I think it was round 13. That was when Lockie Miller got dropped. Since he's been at fullback, 77, 92, 95, 47, and then 180. And now he's goal kicking as well. Tigers match up in round 20. Like, that is juicy. Dolphins in round 23, Bulldogs 24, Dragons 27. Like, I think there are some good games for Ponga. So, to be honest, I think I'd probably be okay selling Cody to Ponga, especially next week against the Tigers. Like, could be a huge game for him. All right, we'll take one more questions, and then we'll wrap it up there. Is Asako a sell? No, I don't think if you have Asako, he's probably a sell. I think you just kind of ride it out for the run home, because I think Asako has shown that even in games where Dolphins don't score many points, he's still good for like 50, but we know he's got that ceiling of 100 plus points because he is a goal kicker. They've still got a couple of good matchups in the run home, and Sean O'Sullivan back I think is probably good for them as well. So no, I think Asako, if you've got him, I think you just hold for the time being. I mean, I can kind of see some appeal of maybe going like Asako to Val Holmes, but I think Asako is potentially up there as a top 4 or 5 center wing. Is Preston a sell or a hold? I think Preston is probably good to cash in now. I mean, I'm not even viewing him as a cheapie, but he obviously started at bottom dollar. I think he's just kind of gone, he's been really capped the last few weeks. Like, scored a 90 in round 15, but before that, 50 this week, 52, 47, 60, 62, 50. Like, there are more of these 50-point games. I think if you can upgrade him to like a Nanai, who's got a ceiling, Fafita, obviously, I think there are a couple of options, maybe even Hopgood. Like, Preston, I think, is not someone that we need to hold on to as a season keeper. So I'm perfectly happy selling Preston. William Kikau will also come back, I think, at some point during this season, maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks. And that may potentially eat into Preston's minutes as well. So I think Preston is probably someone I'm looking to get rid of, I think. All right, we'll take one more question because it's a good one. Is it better to wait a week for Cleary? I think it's perfectly viable to wait for Cleary. He's got 122 break even. And, he's coming 1 week back from a hamstring injury. I think the reason I'm looking to do it is it's similar to what happened with Hines back in, say, round 5, where he had this calf issue. It was a good matchup on paper against the Dragons, and a lot of us got stung because we said, we'll wait and see how he comes back, and he obviously came back and brained it. That was Nico Hines. Just concerned about something similar happening with Cleary. Let's say, like, if you want him anyway, maybe just get it in early next week when he has the Dolphins, and just take the chance that he has, he won't have that re-injury, because with NRL Physio says this, with hamstring injuries, there's no issue of performance on the return. It's the re-injury risk that is the main thing. But he's had a good length of time off, 6 weeks. He's not really he's not really had, I think, historically hamstring issues, not like, say, a Tom Tavoyevich. So hopefully he's ready to go next week. So yeah, I think if you're a Moses owner, you can probably wait a week, but yeah, I'm perfectly happy, I think, next week to buy Cleary. All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Probably went on for a little bit longer than anticipated, but hopefully you all had a good weekend and a good round 19. And we'll catch you all again later this week. Catch me as well on the SC Hubs Classic podcast. I'll be doing that this week with Clem Cassidy, which from SC Playbook, which should be good. We'll do my own stream, of course, as well. And we'll try to do something maybe on Thursday after Origin. Thursday or Friday. We'll see. Actually, I can't do Friday. It would have to be Thursday. But I'll let you guys know what the schedule is. But thanks for tuning in, and catch you in the next one. See ya.